It was something that didn't happen that completely changed the course of history for the Chicago Wolves. In 1997, the Wolves hired Alpo Suhonen to take over behind the bench for head coach Gene Ubriaco. But in August of that year, Alpo was thousands of miles away, and it looked like his tenure as a bench boss was going to be a short one.
I remember someone was saying what were great turning points in our history. And I remember when we brought Alpo and Suhonen to end the 96-97 season. He came in and then the start of the next year we were getting ready, and I was interim GM then, and over the summer. And Alpo, went back to Finland, and I kept calling him when he was coming back. And he was coming back.
Say I can't coach here anymore?
Here,
Did you depart?
No. Alpo, after going back to Finland, it's not my place to discuss Alpo's issues. But I mean, he for various reasons, could not come back.
Just like that, John Anderson was in and Alpo Suhonen was out.
Chicago Wolves would like to announce that we have a new head coach, John Anderson, and a new general manager in Kevin Cheveldayoff.
You guys phoned me, and it was like bizarre. So then I switched things right away, obviously, and it was great to do that.
We knew we had to have a new general manager and new coach. We just knew that. And so Buddy and I, remember, I didn't know anything, I admitted it. He was a hockey guy. So we go to say, who should we hire for a coach and a general manager? And Scotty Bowman wasn't available.
Son of a...
Yeah, right. So we didn't know what to do. So Buddy has a good friend named Mike Smith. Mike Smith, he ended up, he was the first one to bring a Russian to the National Hockey League. Is that good or bad? I don't know. But he was Buddy's friend, and he was the general manager in Winnipeg for a while, and he ended up being the general manager in Chicago.
In Toronto.
And she said to him, who is the best person out there to be the coach and best general manager? We engaged him, and he went around and he looked and he came back and he said, the best coach you can get is John Anderson. He just won the Southern League. This guy's going to be a championship coach in the NHL.
Not unlike last year when I was with the Quad City Mallards the very first day, I promised a winning season, and I feel very fortunate, and I feel exactly the same way here because I see great groundwork already laid for me. And I believe that with this team and with this management setup that we have here and a great city that we'll be winners this year.
I remember meeting Johnny for the first time and seeing that mustache wandering around the office, and he just had a great way with people. Johnny had a good sense of the game. He was very different than most coaches, especially then. I guess, the game has changed a lot, but the same still applies. Johnny was about having fun. Johnny was about offense, which not a lot of people were about, and that set him apart. But that didn't mean that Johnny didn't see the game in a very special way, and it allowed him to digest the game in a special way. He loved having the puck, he loved scoring goals, he loved winning games.
Anderson loved to win, and his new boss did too.
Don was a guy who wanted to win every single game. And the amount of games in the schedule changed. I think it was 80, 81, 82, but Don wanted to go 82-0. And if you went 81-1, he would ask you about the one, not about the 81.
Before he could settle in behind the bench, he had to find a place to live in Chicago, and a familiar face was renting.
When Johnny got the head coaching job with the Wolves, one day we were planning on moving to another city, and we were renting our house, and we want to rent it for 2 years. And I'm sitting at my computer, the knock on the door. It's an agent, and my wife comes down. I hear some talking. I said, geez, that's a Canadian. I look at the legs coming down the stairs. And lo and behold, it's Johnny walking down my stairs.
So
looking
here's
to
the
rent
worst.
the house.
So Billy goes, well, I'd love to rent you the house, but, I got this deal in Carolina. I want to rent it for 2 years. I said, well, I'm always 1 year away from being fired, Billy. I can only rent it for 1 year. And he goes, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And then what happened was you end up leaving Carolina, coming back, and you go, I wish
much later.
I would have given you your house back, but the other people didn't, so he had it for.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
true
he
story.
didn't get his own house back for a
came
whole
back-
year.
So where'd you live?
We lived a couple
YMCA?
suburbs close
I
to
rented in my basement, Don.
The Wolves roster was also happy with the new coaching change.
He's the type of coach you want to play for. It goes without saying, I'm sure every player that's played for him wants to play for him their whole career. He really cares. You know, people say he's kind of loosey-goosey a little bit, but I think he's great. I think he really means well. Practices are fun, up-tempo. You know, he teaches the game. He wants us to learn the game. You know, he's fun to play with. He's very offensive-minded. I don't know any player that doesn't want to play for him.
But the referees wouldn't find John so endearing.
Well, Gene Ubriaco likes the old Italian nicknames. Like the mafia guys would get nicknames, so he called Johnny Tomatoes.
Well, I mean, there was a time where, I mean, he was just like, you know, he took more penalties than half the team.
He would spend more than a decade in Chicago, and he would win 4 championships with the Wolves.
They created an atmosphere where every night you felt like you had a chance to win and expected you to win on almost every night. And it's a feeling that you don't always have as a player, to come to the rink and have an opportunity to try to win a championship every season.
Johnny worked extremely hard at putting this team's best foot forward at all times, and we would not have had the success that we've had as a franchise without a guy like Johnny steering the way.
In 2008, John left Chicago to pursue a career in the National Hockey League, but he came back and is again behind the bench for the Chicago Wolves. Tune in next time as Daring Greatly continues to chart the history of the Chicago Wolves in this exclusive docu-series.